because of the theme that he's likely to opt into in the later stages. So already out the gate, SANDBOX, if they just go for disengagey, protect, long-range team composition, it's fundamentally neutering Aphelios and Trundle out the gate, and Afreeca, they've already committed to that. And if they try to pivot away, well, now you're harming Trundle, you're harming Aphelios, so...
Oh, wow.
Their draft is already a little bit weird. And here's Karma, and that's a three-way flex.
Yep. Looking like a bottom lane pick, especially into that. I'm not entirely sure. Yamato probably can't come any sooner. To be perfectly honest, not necessarily sure about this. Actually, no. SANDBOX are absolutely fine. Afreeca struggling just a little bit here, but Nautilus and Aphelios certainly a bottom lane duo that we've seen many, many times. We'll see whether Mystic and Ben can pilot it effectively. I was half expecting something like a Zoe to come in on SANDBOX's side. We can start off, you know, we kept me up in the Pokeball, but otherwise it's basically Team Rocket.
I saw what the LEC tried to do.
I know.
Yeah, ridiculous. You don't try to rename that quality.
Exactly. Don't worry, I did link them to our listing.
And Twitch chat was trying to
correct names.
Line. Yeah, that was totally fine.
I'm glad you were there alongside, making sure that it was all being taken care of. Jay's going to be the first man here on SANDBOX's side. We'll see what they're going to take away next. And it's going to be the Ornn, so still staying down the line of a few top laners. Gangplank, Ornn, Jace, Wukong, and Set all taken off the board. And that's a Mordekaiser for Kiin. We've seen, you know, we got taught about how Mordekaiser works during MSC. Zoom pretty damn good on that champion. We had basically Ixu here building attack speed Mordekaiser, and that was the most successful variety that we had.
Whoa, and this is one of Mordekaiser's roughest matchups. Was Fiora, and she was being hovered. Now maybe they don't want to play her because of the amount of continuous lockdown in CC on the side of Afreeca, but when you pick Aatrox, you're rewarding Aphelios, you're rewarding Trundle, Nautilus, and Mordekaiser, and even though you're getting the brunt of what you want to achieve as well, you could just as easily opt out of it, and there's an Azir, which is on theme with what Ezreal wants to achieve with the Karma, and it really harms what Afreeca's trying to do. So the Aatrox a little bit off-kilter with the rest of the champions on the SANDBOX lineup, but now Afreeca, they have to respond, and they're hovering TF. Obviously, Corki, probably another option on some people's minds right now.
Yep. Orianna is another thing that Fly certainly plays a lot of and could have a pretty even matchup into the Azir, but I don't mind the Twisted Fate, and he is going to lock that one in here. Certainly very good at picking off a single target here on Afreeca's side, and we'll see what Kiin's going to be able to do with this Mordekaiser on the top side against Summit. Relatively even matchup between the two, so it could be exciting checking that one out. And it was indeed the Ezreal Karma bottom lane, which is obnoxious to high heaven.
Yeah.
So Root and Gorilla should be having a pretty decent time, and we'll see whether Mystic has picked up his performance from what was a bit of a slump towards the end of the last split. Of course, extenuating circumstances certainly did apply, so let's hope that everything is all right over in the Afreeca camp. They can get things back together, especially with Ben making his way onto the stage. It's been a while since we've seen him. In fact, 3 ex-WE members on this squad right now in Spirit, Mystic, and Ben. So, you know, the LPL, best region in the world, and we've got, you know, quite a large amount of LPL ex-players for the team that is currently 3rd in the league.
This is true.
Nailing it.
So, Karma, Ezreal, Azir, Jarvan, and Aatrox is going to be the team composition for SANDBOX. It's relatively generic.
Yeah.
The Aatrox does give some more hope, though, to the side of Afreeca, although it is Summit's Aatrox.
True.
Probably you could make a case for him saying that he's the best in the world at it. As Mordekaiser, Trundle, Twisted Fate, Aphelios, and Nautilus. And really, even though they have 200 years behind them down in the bot lane, the deck is actually stacked against them here if it goes the distance.
That was a lot of puns. I liked it a lot. Here we are under the Rift for SANDBOX versus Afreeca. Our first game of the summer split for 2020 here at the LCK, and we've got a long road to tread to get back towards the top of League of Legends. We are slipping rungs so far, and let's hope the pride of Korea can return as we move further forward into the summer split. We'll be expecting lots of good things from all of these players. So far, the draft's not really giving too much away. They'll have to leave it all on the Rift. As you're exactly right, very generic on SANDBOX's side. No surprises that the Aatrox was picked up. But I want to see what Kiin's going to be able to do with the Mordekaiser. He's been playing a hell of a lot of solo queue at the moment. Summit currently sitting at rank 28, and Kiin is rank 8.
Okay.
Not bad. I mean, it could be 7, I know. That's what you're going to say. But still, I think top 10's all right.
Well, I think that the team composition is in favor of SANDBOX, especially when you consider how they should, in theory, be able to itemize, because Twisted Fate is likely going to incentivize Merc Treads on the side of SANDBOX, and then also because you have the Mordekaiser up in the top lane, incentivizing more magic resistance, works against Trundle Subjugate. The Nautilus is even going to deal less damage, and all the weight comes on to Aphelios, who can't really play the game against Azir and Ezreal. So Jarvan doesn't need to engage, Aatrox doesn't need to engage, and if they play it that way, it should be pretty smooth sailing if they end up going the distance.
And we have to remember as well that, I mean, the SANDBOX, we talk about solo lanes a lot. Summit and Dove are very practiced, and they're both on their most comfortable champions. I mean, Dove is literally named after Azir.
Yeah.
So, should be pretty good here for these guys, especially for a game 1. I think focusing on making sure your players are as comfortable as possible is definitely a very good idea. Dove gets some deep vision here, will spot Spirit moving towards his red. As OnFleek skipped his wolf camp, went straight to his red buff, and we'll see where he's going to head next. As Summit and Kiin just bopping each other just a little bit, but otherwise not too much happening. And, you know, this has been a matchup that we've spoken about a lot, Mordekaiser versus Aatrox, but has also gone through a lot of iterations. Where do you see it at the moment?
Well, Aatrox, I mean, it's Mordekaiser favored, but Aatrox, I mean, if he ever just gets a good clip, then things can obviously swing in Aatrox's favor temporarily, but for the most part, it is in Mord's edge. So, SANDBOX, I mean, that lane is going to be volatile. The thing that I'm mostly looking at here as we come back into summer is anyone going to manipulate their lane states relative to the jungler? And so far, not really. And OnFleek is actually just going to get an edge over Trundle.
Yeah, might actually just move straight down to the bottom side Scuttle Crab as well and take both of them. So double Scuttle here for OnFleek, certainly setting himself up nicely, and he wastes no time getting down there, as you can see. Full vision from Afreeca, I believe, so they think they know exactly what is happening, just no way for the Trundle to stop it, especially with Fly not having too much control here of this mid lane. CS-wise, everything absolutely fine, and both of these mid laners will be able to teleport back. The Hail of Blades being taken here by the Azir, just to get that trading damage opportunity. We'll see what Fly's going to be able to do with this Twisted Fate. He's certainly been, he's played this champion a lot. I mean, this guy's been playing League of Legends for an extremely long time, and there was a meta where basically the only mid laner was Twisted Fate. And so, of course, this is something that Fly has been known for in the past. But Fly has been an interesting player, one that's sort of shown us that he's had a lot of mastery on specific champions. Yeah. And otherwise not being able to find too much. And he used to be known as this, like, mastermind of the crazy picks, you know?
Yes.
Like, playing Poppy in the mid lane and things like that to counteract stuff like Aurelia. Like, he was one of those guys that had all of the cool ideas. Yeah. And then he was a Lissandra one-trick, and that was sad.
Well, him and many others that were not really good enough to pilot the other champions. Honestly, I miss Lissandra. Lissandra has a special place in this lane.
Especially in Korea.
Yeah.
Because she yells just so much. Yeah. She's very vocal. And as a commentator, you know, we're commentators, we like talking. Yeah. And she's real good at it.
True.
At least being loud, making noises. I guess not really talking, is it? When you're just going, yeah, all the time. That's not what she sounds like. That was a terrible impression. I apologize, everyone. Well, we've just got some resetting. We are well and truly back to the LCK.
We really are.
Oh.
We really, really are.
So how's the stream going? How's life?
You know, the coach streams have been going fantastic.
Yeah?
And the live viewings, also fantastic.
Still doing that? Co-streaming the LCS and live viewing LEC? Is that the idea?
That's still the schedule. 80-hour plus work weeks have resumed. So, you know, LCS with the LCS is fun. You know, brownie and anchovies.
Perfect. It's always good to be aptly named, as Spirit is going to be discovered here by a very angry dragon. Can go down to about 300 health, but that is the most action that we've had throughout this game, and he's just going to eat up some honey fruit. Going to be absolutely fine. But this actually doesn't bode very well for Afreeca, who now have a level 6 Twisted Fate and probably want to do something with it here in this mid game. See whether they're actually going to be able to. You could imagine that a gank potentially towards the top side of the map could be happening, could be possible, but not with Trundle on the bottom side of the map.
Over or under 15 minutes, first blood?
15 minutes?
The fact that you have to think about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, judging by the team comps, you should say under 100% of the time. But we're in Korea. And I don't know. I'm going to say under because I like to be optimistic.
Or is it because you're looking at the screen?
No, I wasn't. Obviously, I
I
wasn't looking at the screen. That's not what we do here in the LCK. There's not much that happens there. I'm looking at the guy next to. What's that?
Is I cast from the minimap. This got brought up in a coach stream recently.
Hey,
yeah. Many people were very surprised.
I don't
look at the
Papa
main
always
screen
did too.
unless,
He barely looked at the main screen.
Yeah. Mostly only look at the minimap. Just talk about stuff that's going on. Unless there's action on the screen.
Yeah.
You know.
So therefore, you just look at the minimap.
I'm lying.
That's
I mostly look at you.
I mean, that's what I was going to say. I don't need to look at the screen. I just look at LS. Especially now that we're back in LoL Park as well.
True.
So I haven't really spoken about it, but Summit's going to land himself an Infernal Chain. That's going to mean that it's a decent trade here for the gentleman. W's still available here for Kiin, so he's not going to be too worried and has himself his Bramble Vest. And a good option.
The thing that is a little bit surprising for me is, so he goes for the Bramble Vest reset, but Aatrox was able to have more gold on his reset, and so Mordekaiser's recall was actually a little bit stuck, and that he had excess gold on the fountain when he went back, so Aatrox getting the better end of the initial recalls, but eventually he will get the Seeker's Arm Guard, he will get the tier 2 boots. Cloud Dragon's going to go the way of SANDBOX, they're rolling Mountain second.
So some pretty good dragons to come through for our Dragon Souls, so that is a great start to the day. Currently the gold is entirely even, but you'd say that SANDBOX probably have a little bit more control, especially given the fact that OnFleek has been absolutely everywhere on this map and taking exactly what he wants. Fly going back home, he's got the Ignite from his Unsealed Spellbook at the moment. I thought that maybe, just maybe, that was a sign of some potential aggression, but it wasn't, of course. Sorry, it's the first day back, all right? I've got to get used to it.
Yeah.
As Kiin up here towards the top side, just trading, taking minions everywhere, extremely even. Like, oh my goodness.
Now, Spirit could be doing his golems this entire time while this is going on.
Well, instead, he's going to head up towards the top side because there is a Death Realm that's being channeled. Kiin going to be just taking some turret shots.
What?
Why not? And Summit now with the World Ender is looking to try and trade back. Fly is going to spot OnFleek as he turns up. Death
what?
And there's the flash as Ben gets in there. Spirit flashes over the wall, but the Emperor's Divide is fantastic. There's the Cataclysm. Gigantic AoE damage, and the 2 kills coming through for SANDBOX will answer what was there from Afreeca in the beginning.
And so I have no clue what Afreeca was doing right there. You could hear it in my voice. Kiin taking 2 turret shots for no reason. There's no lethal on Aatrox. Aatrox has consent in that entire fight because he can just back up. He can say, no, actually, I'm not going to fight you. I have no idea what you're doing. Your jungler is running around doing nothing for eternity. Fly comes in, and honestly, I mean, that was a cheater hook if I've ever seen one. That is, I'm not sure how many years that one took to master, but Ben did manage to get it. It ends up being a 2-for-1 in SANDBOX's favor, and this is really bad for Afreeca. Below you is Nautilus.
Emperor's Divide was absolutely fantastic out of Dove. But honestly, after the flash from good old Spirit, did certainly not look like a great situation for Afreeca. Back into live, though, it doesn't really do too much for the state of the game. Apart from giving 1-0 and 1 to Summit on the top side, who's very close to completing his Death's Dance, which certainly looks like it will be morphing what should be a decent matchup for Kiin.
Well, the problem with those that initial skirmish going in the way of SANDBOX is that it really stifles what Afreeca's trying to do. And when you have a Twisted Fate, and you're not getting the ball rolling, when you're falling behind to Azir, but I do have to give credit, Fly is actually doing much better than one probably would have expected, at least in the first 10 minutes, given the matchup.
Also got that one kill as well, so oftentimes you look at the Twisted Fate and you're like, did the first Destiny work?
Yeah.
If not, then things probably really bad. However, it was theoretically successful for Fly, even though he did flash immediately into an Emperor's Divide. In the meantime, he was able to actually get himself a kill, so let's just see whether Fly is going to be able to continue finding some advantages. Right now, it's not looking like it as the flash immediately comes out. Wildcards doing some work here as Spirit shows up. Pillar of Filth in there. Thank you very much for using traditional Trundle. Spirit, man is a savant.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, there's a flash depth charge is immediately root. Arcane Shift, Flash trying to get out of there, but Ben is going to lock him down with his Dredge line. That's the Moonlight Vigil, and that's going to be the end of the Ezreal. But Emperor's Divide not quite going to find Ben, but there should be enough damage there. No says the stopwatch as Mystic is taken down. Dove grabs that kill, and now Summit's trying to get the work done. Fly in melee range is absolutely not what he wants, but Kiin puts him in the Death Realm and then the Death Chamber immediately. Ben's still alive somehow, sitting at 100 health, but OnFleek comes in, prioritizes Fly, will be able to lock down that kill, as now Kiin's trying to do the work. Gets his passive back, Gorilla will be going down, obliterated in fact, as now Spirit looking to get on top of this teleport route, coming back in, but Dove's able to lock down that kill regardless, and now 2 versus 2. It's looking like Afreeca are going to be able to make it out because that is a really nice pillar, but that was a catastrophe. What happened?
I have no idea. that was something, and Dove was honestly being Captain Careful in the entire fight. Let's take a look at how this all transpired. So, Root using Arcane Shift plus Flash, trying to get away. Ben landing a really good hook to teleport, coming in first from Dove. And you can see here, he goes for the shuffle, doesn't quite land it onto Mystic, does a lot of damage onto Ben. But then you can see Spirit wasn't even paying attention to him, and yet Dove kites towards the right-hand side, whipping a Sand Soldier summon. He could have easily killed Nautilus because he had Spirit coming from the north, and Nautilus would never threaten lethal. Kiin comes in, Death Realms, Summit, and manages to save quite a bit of damage, has the Aatrox through the passive here, giving him some stats. Manages to get the kill onto Gorilla. Action wasn't done yet. Ezreal comes in and then kites down towards the south. Even though Kiin doesn't have Flash, so had he gone left, they would be able to reconverge. But anyways, coming back into live now. Gold score completely even, but Afreeca gonna be the ones that actually gets the Mountain Dragon.
And it is going to be Infernal coming up next. So Earth, Wind, and Fire going to be our 3 Drakes for Game 1 of our first day of the Summer Split. That actually, like, in the end, I think when the dust settles, certainly did work out for Afreeca, especially being able to transition into collecting themselves that Mountain Drake. It was chaotic at best, but that's what a game with Twisted Fate should be, right? And I think it should have started being chaotic a little bit earlier, but thankfully, Afreeca have put the game in the state that they want it to be in at this stage. Did any turret plates go down, by the way? I think there might have been a few.
I just want to point out how... Oh, hold on.
Yeah, we got another fight here. As Mystic down very, very low. He's well and truly dead, like you were saying. But did a lot of AoE damage in the meantime. Fly does have a fair bit of a health bar here as Fly flashes after OnFleek. 1 for 1 in the end. Ben's just going to wander with his parade of minions back towards his outer turret. And they trade 80 carry for jungler.
And that was really close because Fly almost went down there as well.
Actually, like, I think the fact that OnFleek got out that way gave Fly a way out, which is unfortunate.
And Kiin is taking a bit of a fight here against Aatrox.
Yeah, I believe he used Death Realm. Which was odd.
And I just want to point out, by the way, that Dove, with his 3 kills and 1 assist, as well as some turret plates, is even in gold with the 1-2-4 Twisted Fate, because unlike Draven, Twisted Fate has a real legitimate passive
that makes him money.
that makes him money without without a condition to get kills. So.
And he got the kills as well, so a bit of extra
There you
gold
go.
there for him. So we're going to have a look at this replay once again. A 1-for-1, but certainly the chaos that Twisted Fate can throw in there is working out thus far.
And really unfortunate. You can see he missed the flag and drag. Had it gone down onto Fly, Fly certainly would have died.
Yeah.
So a little unfortunate for OnFleek. The action is staying up, though.
This game is so incredibly close. Summit just jumps over that Death's Grasp by the looks of things, but it was an Umbral dash.
The thing is that this is the part of the game where it should be close, and Afreeca should actually have a leg to stand on. Once Ezreal gets to the Death's Dance, once Aatrox starts getting to 3 items, Azir 3 items, etc., everything's going to be really, really, really problematic on the side of Afreeca. Although, interestingly enough, Azir went for Sorkpen boots, didn't actually go for the Merc Treads, even though there is the Twisted Fate in the game, as well as so much magic damage on 4 of the champions out of Afreeca, so being a little bit greedier with the damage. Jarvan also likewise Ninja Tabai instead of Merc Treads.
Yeah, that's very, very strange considering double magic damage solo lanes.
And the gold card on TF is likely the CC that you're going to absorb. So, very peculiar.
Potentially kiteable now for OnFleek, but we'll see what he does get done here. As Sun Turret is erected, Dove makes it a very short lane in mid as Gorilla going to get dredge line. Mystic comes in. He's got the short range weaponry like we like to talk about, and that is going to be a very dead Karma. Just better positioning here for Afreeca, and they didn't even need to use the Destiny Gate combo. This might be their opportunity to break down their first turret of the game.
And, well, we're just seeing two titans up here, just duel it out.
Yep, smacking each other with their sock and boppers.
Yeah, true story.
I miss those things.
I
remember the ads when I was a kid.
Yeah, I remember the commercials when I was a kid as well. Yeah, they were very good.
I don't feel as much like a boomer anymore. Thank you so much.
They were reruns. On my mother's VHS tapes, actually.
She taped them just because she really wanted you to learn about old pop culture.
Well, speaking about pop, Karma did pop there.
She did.
At the Tri-Brush.
And that is going to mean that things are once again extraordinarily even.
Ezreal is going for Trinity Force, actually, over Iceborne Gauntlet, even though there's a lot of stick reliance on the side of Afreeca. And obviously the Iceborne, the slows are really good, not just for himself, but for Azir, for Jarvan, for Aatrox to stick. So, a little surprising there. Yes, he doesn't get as much value out of the armor, given all the magic on the side of Afreeca, but still a bit of an interesting decision, I think.
Also, being able to slow down Mystic and having, better battle stats against him as well just means that it would be a decent idea. But I don't mind Trinity Force. It's in the same vein as you should be prioritizing Merc Treads, right? As Destiny has been popped. We ain't gating anywhere just yet, though, as Summit is on the top side with Teleport at the ready. Now Afreeca just going to spot them in this Dragon Pit. Teleport out. Double teleports, in fact, are coming in. It's a great flanking ward that's in their Spirit. Blocks down the Dragon Pit. Now Summit getting into position. But already OnFleek is just dead. Trying to go for that 50-50. Was unable to. Suffered the loss of his life. And then Summit had no way to actually affect the fight. But still, they do disengage relatively effectively, but a massive win for Afreeca.
Really big win for them. Very surprised because they saw Twisted Fate in bottom. They all could have just been in the pit and then tried to kite down towards him. And that would have been fine. And then they could have gone for the 50-50 that way. The way that it was executed by SANDBOX, though, very questionable. And now Afreeca, they're sitting pretty comfortable with the two best dragons, I guess, so that have spawned in the game.
Yep.
Have the mountain.
And now they've got a Lich Bane on Fly as well, who will be able to split push pretty effectively, given his Unsealed Spellbook as well as his Destiny Gate. But let's have a look at this one once again.
You can see Gorilla comes over, not really able to do anything. Summit's teleport is not able to do anything either, as OnFleek just died. I mean, he went for the 50-50 smite fight.
Yeah, but it was definitely, that was a sacrifice.
Yes.
And therefore, Summit probably didn't need to teleport there. But that's okay. Hindsight's 50-50, all that sort of stuff. And the gold is entirely even between these two squads, which certainly does help out SANDBOX, who have the Azir that's going to scale a very, very long way, and an Ezreal that we often talk about 2 items, but now that Death's Dance exists, we talk about 3, and that's going to make his scaling feel a lot better also. Spy down here on the bottom side, we'll just try and deal with Dove. Should be able to do so.
Well. Ooh.
Yeah, some nice Mystic shots coming out there from Root.
Not bad. Or does already have his Mirror Mana complete. Leandres is on the Mordekaiser. And everyone right now on Afreeca, they're sitting pretty comfortable at their 2 items.
I think it's only really Mystic that's more of that 3-item type carry, so Kiin probably fairly happy to fight once he gets his Zhonya's, especially given the amount of physical damage that he's going to be going up against, assuming they can deal with Dove. Not too bad there, speaking of Dove. Spirit was thinking about an opportunity, but doesn't actually have to worry about it. Very close to 10 stacks on that Rod of Ages, which only goes into our discussion about Afreeca being pretty strong in this exact moment. It's out of turret in the mid lane, sieged just by some minions. And so we're talking about the fact that Afreeca are in a power spike at the moment. They're obviously not actually going to do anything with it. This is, we're waiting the 2 minutes till the Infernal Drake, and they will be able to threaten Soul Point with that one.
It's really hard to do anything with it. All your champions are super short range. The mid-tier 1 turret is super healthy on the side of SANDBOX. They can just sit back and they have control on what is and isn't possible in mid lane, at least. As, Root taking a bit of damage. He does have a Doran's Blade, though, so he's going to be able to heal.
You nailed it.
TF better get a Morello.
And Kiin needs a longer arm. And
True.
Death's Grasp was just short.
Do you know what I learned recently?
What did you learn?
I learned that Ardent Sensor is a giga-busted item. It is one of the most disgusting pile of stats. I didn't realize how broken it was until I saw a clip of Tyler 1 going on a tirade about Redemption versus Ardent on Ivern. And I was actually in the school of thought that Redemption is just always better. I got Morello'd.
Oh, wow.
And that was, that's Morello Leandre V2.
My goodness. Well, I mean, I'm glad that, you know, even though you had a different opinion, you accepted that that was obviously proven mathematically to be better. It was very cool.
So good. Ardent. So, waiting for Karma to get it. I become
Mikhails needs to come in first.
Yeah.
Obviously.
She has it. And obviously, Ardent and Athene's are the traditional items. Both of them are just so cheap. That's what's so gross about them.
And also, I mean, Ardent got absolutely nerfed into the ground after the Ardent meta, and I think it's been sneaking back up because they've just added random stats to it to be like, no, remember this is like still an item. And so now it's just really efficient. Even if the buff isn't as absolutely broken as it was in, what was it, 2016, 2015?
Season 6, I think, was Ardent.
Yeah,
or was it Season 7? I think
Ooh, actually, yeah. That was the Samsung season, right?
Yeah, I think 7.
Yeah, that seems to make some sense.
Ardent was really cool. Ardent was it was a gentleman's match.
It was Season 7.
Yeah.
Thank you, Collective. Checking in. I hadn't actually been paying too much attention. As, this is going to be Soul Point, and SANDBOX do need to fight for this one. Teleport coming through from Root will get him into the fight, but I think that Spirit should be able to lock this one down, and he does. Kiin, OnFleek immediately put into the Death Realm, and that is why there was no steal on that Dragon, as now Kiin immediately comes out, but he goes golden. Currently fired up, as you can see, and that is going to be Mystic locking down that kill. Flashing forward, but OnFleek going to get that Mikhails and get himself out as Gorilla sacrifices himself. And his last act is keeping his jungler alive. That might help as far as Afreeca are concerned, because they are looking to head towards this Baron Pit. That could be a big turn, though, because having Infernal Soul Point and inside track on this Baron that they are now going to just straight up own themselves is that's a big swing in this game.
And I think this is probably going to be the nail in the coffin. So even though early on we talked about if SANDBOX can get to 3+ items, Ezreal and Azir will carry, there's a bit of problem in the fact that, well, first we'll talk about the replay. So, SANDBOX arrived late to the party, and OnFleek gets Death Realm right away by the Mordekaiser. He ends up flashing away using his flash here. Now everyone is standing on top of Mordekaiser. Look at Azir in Antarctica, or I don't even know where he is actually. He's just in another universe at that point. So
He's in another time zone.
Groups up. Azir never gets to deal damage. Ezreal can't deal damage. We'll take a look at the replay here.
I really love the gameplay of Mordekaiser.
Jarvan, no
like,
flash.
I'm walking, I'm walking, I'm walking.
Ooh, he manages to tab and ping the flash during that. Zanya's cast, and then TF with a... They're saying, let's go Baron, let's go Baron. And so, one of the issues here is that Azir, he starts off with Nashor's Tooth, goes Zanya's Hourglass, even though he has obviously no intention to make any plays, and he should never be diving the backline. If he's diving the backline for an Azir sec, him and Ezreal are failing fundamentally somewhere else. So, the itemization's very wonky. Aatrox can't do anything against that team composition. We outlined that in the draft phase. Jarvan, likewise, counterintuitive, because he's trying to go in when really he should just be peeling and using Cataclysm defensively for Ezreal and Azir. So, they're piloting the comp in a very counterintuitive way. They don't yet have the items, and then to make matters worse, Azir is itemizing basically no damage. He has an Oblivion Orb now, but it's soul point soon.
Well, we'll see whether this fight is going to change anything, as Destiny will bring Fly in there, as Spirit with his ultimate running keeps himself alive, and that Emperor's Divide was absolutely fantastic. It's nothing in comparison to Mystic with his Quadra kill, though. Is it going to be back-to-back pentas against SANDBOX in the first game? It is! Mystic does it. Welcome back for 2020 Summer Afreeca Freecs. You started off well last time, you're doing it again now.
Oh, man. Well, Aphelios is always a pleasure to watch. It's when he ends up doing it.
200 years of collective pentakills. Absolutely incredible stuff.
How many years?
As Afreeca will win the game off the back of that one. Pentakill for Mystic.
It's
that's one way of ending the game.
It was